You're listening to the Veterinary Innovation Podcast. Hey, I'm Ivan Zach, and I'm excited to introduce Eugene Lee. Eugene is a second generation CEO at POSKOM USA with nearly 30 years of experience in veterinary industry. He's a pioneer in the field, having introduced the first battery powered portable X ray generators to the veterinary market in 2008. With a passion for innovation and improving animal health, Eugene has become a respected figure in the industry and is dedicated to advancing the technology and equipment available to veterinary professionals. Eugene, welcome to the show. Thank you for finding the time.
Well, thank you very much, Ivan, and to you as well, Shawn. It's a pleasure and an honor to be here with you today.
So, the portable X-rays, as I remember them from vet school, I think mostly were used for large animals, and I remember it always looked intriguing, like Ghostbusters with a huge X-ray that you're taking the X-rays of the horse feet. Where we are right now in the world of X-rays, is it digital X-rays now in terms of the portable, and is it widely and wildly used in the small animal world?
Well, that is exactly right what you had mentioned from your veterinary school days. Traditionally, these were used in large animal practice settings only, mainly because of just the nature of the beast, so to speak, that are the large animal patients. But in recent years, due to the advances in digital radiography, small animal practices have come to find that, in fact, a portable X-ray machine for most general practitioners works just as well as the traditional standalone $100,000 investment, standalone X-ray systems and rooms that they've had to place in clinic. With the pandemic, we have the increase in mobile veterinary care, hands off outside of the clinic care,
Mm.
where yes, a lot of these small animal practitioners now, rather than having to bring people into their clinics, were able to actually make house calls.
Cool. So when in what setting would the small animal practitioner would rather use a portable device instead of that $100,000 machine?
Certainly. The portable device, aside from being a much more affordable solution, especially for new practitioners, if you don't have radiography in your practice, currently you're missing out not only on a lot of care opportunities for your patients, but also an increased source of revenue. Where portables come into play with the small animal clinic setting is right now, a lot of states will have heavy regulations on standalone X ray generators. So if you do have a dedicated stationary machine, you need to follow several guidelines, including shielding, dedicated X ray rooms, certain lighting situations are also required. With a portable X ray machine, every exam room now becomes an imaging center as well. Our generators now quite different from when you were in school. The big heavy beast up to 50 pounds.
Well, he's really
Um,
old, so I mean that makes sense. Things have changed a lot in 20 years.
they certainly have. They certainly have, Shawn. And just to give you an example of what I'm talking about, our latest battery powered portable X ray generator, the Air Ray 20, weighs in at a mere 11 and a half pounds. Talking about less than 5 kilos. So
Even Sean can pick it up.
even Shawn, yes, yes. And what this really helps in is the accessibility, and the practice workflow runs much quicker, much faster, and cleaner with a portable X-ray machine, rather than having to move patients in and out of an imaging room. Again, point of care is going to be right when you see them.
So Eugene, this seems like a big change in the industry. Have you seen veterinary clinics start to move towards these portable devices away from these dedicated X-ray rooms, or is it more the mobile practitioners, the people that just don't have a dedicated office space?
Well, we always have our bread and butter, which are the mobile clinics. But in the last 5 years, we've seen a dramatic increase in the adaptation of portable X ray systems being used in small animal clinics. We have a really strange dynamic right now, kind of a unique dynamic in the fact that we have a lot of old veterinarians now who are at that age of retiring or passing their practice on. Now, most of these younger vets that are coming into play, they don't have a lot of experience that the old practitioners, when they were going to school, dealing with radiographic imaging. A lot of the universities now, they utilize our portable generators to handle not only small animal imaging, but also in conjunction with a large animal section of their veterinary studies.
So how would you let's say the mobile vets that are your sort of core clients, what does the setup have to be? Can they really do an X-ray like just in the at home and essentially take an X-ray? And how would that, is it digital? How is positioning working? I'm just kind of trying to picture the process.
Sure, absolutely. Yes. And yes, they are actually using these things in a small animal setting for home care, not a problem. So basically, what you have with a modern day DR system, digital radiographic system, is these three main components. You have your X ray generator, you have now a digital radiographic plate, a DR plate, and that's what is used to capture the images. Then you have either a laptop, a notebook, or even a tablet PC at this point for to actually be able to see, capture, and manipulate the images from that point. All these three components at this point in the industry can all be fit into a single backpack.
Oh, wow. That's pretty cool.
Absolutely.
So in terms of positioning, and again, I'm just thinking through
Hmm.
as a vet. So now that I'm doing some undercover ER shifts, I did one yesterday, and I did actually do a foreign body surgery, and the X-ray was the one that led me to believe that it was required. Now, for the portable X-rays, I wonder, like, how do they do you recommend same positioning, sort of, lateral VD, or is it now it can do like standing, or what does that look like?
Well, you can do all of the above. Everything that you've done with your traditional stationary x ray can be accomplished with a portable x ray system. Rather than positioning your patient, now you can simply, because the equipment is now lighter than the patient, so you simply reposition your equipment to match whatever angle, whether it's lateral or otherwise, with your equipment in hand. Currently, in most states, X-ray generators can still be used handheld. Does not need especially with the weight, they don't need a stand or a tube stand or a table so much. You simply place an X-ray plate underneath your patient, and you position the generator with your hands to the correct angle, and you'll get the same image quality as you would with a traditional X-ray system.
That's interesting, and I'm just trying to, I'm a huge fan of radiology. I actually, at some point, was dreaming to be a diagnostic imaging specialist. But if you're doing, well, again, sort of the technicality of it, I know that, you need to columnate, you need to, target a certain, is that like you're regulating the distance, or there's actually the same function? You're columnating to have the beam more targeted, or how does that work mechanically?
Well, that is a very good question. We've been able to overcome that with when it comes to SID distance. All of our X-ray portable X-ray generators come with a dual laser positioning system. So they'll shoot two lasers, and when the two laser pointers converge on the plate, you are at the appropriate distance for your X-ray
Oh,
to produce your X-ray. Collimation, simply two knobs just at the front of the machine, and then you just put in your KV, your MA, and fire away.
wow, that's really cool.
Mm-hmm. It really
So,
is.
do you see this applied in the home setting, or do these mobile vets do it in like back in their van, or is it safe enough to do it just at home?
The answer would be all of the above, Doc.
Hmm.
Really, yeah, we do have mobile practitioners that will have actually custom converted their van to be able to accept patients inside. Because of the lightweight nature of all of our equipment, it can also be used inside a home at the point of care and also in clinic. You have to remember that because our generators simply do one thing, they produce x-rays, and because of their lightweight and small form factor, they can be used whether it's handheld or hung from a traditional table. It really depends on whatever the practitioner is personally comfortable with.
So fascinating. Eugene, like, so we've seen the development of portable ultrasound, now portable X-ray imaging that can fit in a backpack. Where do you think things are going for veterinary medicine when it comes to these like radiographic equipment? Like what's the future look like?
Well, the future certainly looks very bright, especially for POSKOM. Since we did innovate the first battery powered X ray generator back in 2008, it's always nice to be the front of the line. And we're always innovating new products that are lighter and more affordable. So, again, increase the reach of this type of medical care. Where DR really plays part in is now that everything's digitized, the point of care becomes so much, the speed of the care becomes so much quicker. Also, a lot more accurate, because once you have this digital image, you no longer need to have to wait to process a film or wait for a computer to process its image. Current capture times, you can take an X-ray a second and be able to view it in a matter of microseconds afterwards. So your point of care becomes very quick, the turnaround time, and your ability to give the proper recommendations after viewing those images will be immediate. And you won't necessarily even have to be a registered vet, so to speak, to be able to read this, because once you have that image, shoot that image to the cloud, a reading physician or veterinarian can view and give feedback immediately from anywhere in the world. So, with telemedicine, with the advent of, the increase of telemedicine, telecare, it fits in perfectly in that type of arena.
It's very interesting. So you mentioned that it does not require the clinic setting. So if I want to start up a clinic in a very economical way, and let's say I don't want to have regulations, that I need to bypass past the regulations
Right.
through, installing the big machine. Essentially, if I'm buying one of these, I can just have that in any room, and then that's just eliminates one more step in when I'm planning the practice.
Exactly. We've already seen this in the human side with urgent care centers, where they know where every room, if you need an X-ray, they'll simply wheel in an X-ray machine. And that's also another arena that we play very well in. We're seeing the same being implemented here now for veterinary care, where you don't need to waste a whole lot of space, get dedicated 220 volt, electrical wiring placed in your office. You've got a mobile imaging system, basically, literally in your back pocket.
That would be a bit of a change of behavior. I'm just trying to think. I think it's really cool, but I'm just thinking, like, how cool would it be that you're, taking temperature, pulse, respiration, X-ray, all in the exam room, and then that's a
Exactly.
part of it. And it's an interesting, if it becomes that easy, then you could really do these things, and you probably can lower the cost of doing that, so it will become much more affordable to the client. So you're actually doing it more frequently.
Absolutely. And you as a practicing veterinarian know this better than most, that timing is everything when it comes to healthcare. Being able to provide all of those services in one pass, in one room, the amount of time that you're going to be able to save, not to mention the initial cost of the equipment, is half, if not more so, than the traditional ways, the old ways, so to speak, of producing radiographs, and patient throughput as well.
Eugene, is that what's driving a lot of your sales? Is it purely cost? Like, you, instead of having to dedicate all this space and all of this capital, you can now look at this portable X-ray machine, which will give you the same results for a fraction of the cost.
Absolutely. And we all have seen this over the, since in the post-pandemic year here, things are a lot more expensive. Things are a lot more expensive nowadays. As far as the care is concerned, you have your client base, and in order to make ends meet, absolutely.
It's so fascinating, Eugene. We blow through the time every time we have an episode like this. But if people want to find out more information about your products, the company, how do they do that? How do they reach out to you if they're interested in finding more details?
Certainly. I encourage everybody to visit our website. That's pximed.com. All of our contact information is there. You can contact us straight through our website. We're here, and we're always happy to hear and answer questions about the POSKOM product line.
And we always ask two questions in the end, Eugene. So one of them, is there a book recommendation, YouTube video, TED Talk, anything that you would like to share with the audience as the nugget of wisdom that you captured somewhere?
Absolutely. Well, I am currently rereading a personal favorite book of mine by Dale Carnegie, How to Win Friends and Influence People. And aside from the title, it just kind of reminds us what once was kind of common sense, just teaches people how to interact with each other, which is what I'm finding nowadays is a lost art. People just don't know how to communicate face to face with each other outside of just simply a screen or a text message. The real art of listening, and that's why I'm rereading this book after taking a 25-year hiatus. And it makes a lot more sense now, aged with a little wisdom, being able to understand these concepts.
That's awesome. And then the last question we've got for you is another innovator, somebody in the space that you
Mhm.
think we should join or have on the show.
Well, that I would have to definitely tip my hat to Dr. Brendan Furlong. He's a good friend of ours, and he's also a client of ours. But he is a former U.S. Olympic team veterinarian for the U.S. He's the current U.S. team vet and former U.S. Pan Am Games vet. Real innovator in the large animal equine space. Fascinating person with many years of stories to share.
Thank you so much for listening to the Veterinary Innovation Podcast. If you want to hear about our new episodes, please follow us on any social media channel. Also, you can check out our website at veterinaryinnovationpodcast.com. See you next week.